is Saturday at 4, and we'll be on the SEC network. So with that, we'll turn it over. And Nate, get us started, please. You're muted, Nate.
Damn it. You're surprised that A&M played Mississippi State that close and by Emmanuel Miller's performance in that game.
Yeah, I thought last night that A&M played really hard. I thought they played well. Number 5, Miller's a really, really good basketball player. He's, draws fouls for them, excellent rebounder, can really, really score the basketball. They isolated him a lot, both in the post, the mid post, and the elbow area. A really tough cover for sure.
Any update on Jalen Williams' status for this game?
No update.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bob.
Eric, were you surprised that A&M only had 5 turnovers given they hadn't played in 32 days? They obviously didn't shoot the ball well, but they handled it okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a team that, did a good job. I thought on both sides of the ball. They played a lot of zone, which is good for us because we were zoned, the entire game basically, or most of the game against South Carolina. So we got to put a few different zone looks in. Sometimes the zone allows you to get some 3 balls. And I thought, that's what we were able to do against South Carolina. So hopefully against Texas A&M zone, we'll be able to, to get our feet set and get some looks from 3 as well. Although everyone's zone is a little bit different. Coach Williams' zone is pretty active, and they'll get up the floor a little bit more, which means we've got to use space on the floor, to try to attack, their zone.
And you guys, I guess if you win Saturday, that might, correct me if I'm wrong, this would be your 11th straight SEC win, which would match with the 95 team did and win their last 11 SEC regular season games. What would be this, if you guys could do that, what would be the significance to you?
I mean, I'm just, how do we, I said it the other day, like starve distractions, just worry about the next game. And then after the game, I guess it'll be, that question can be posed again, but right now we got to worry about our preparation. It's 3rd time we prepped from. So hopefully the guys will remember the other 2 preps and that'll help us from a mental standpoint potentially.
And was there a part of you that wondered if this game would ever come off, and just how glad are you to finally be playing them?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad that our guys get a chance to compete again. I mean, the last thing that the team wants to do is go into practice with me for a week this time of year. So I think it's, we go get right into our normal prep starting today, and continue to have accountability and player ownership. I mean, I think that's important. Kind of reestablish our focus as well. That's kind of where we're at.
Bob, just to clarify, that 93-94, they did win their last 11 games, but there was a Montevallo game mixed in there, non-conference. So
okay, was that 94, 95? I'll check with you afterwards. I got a couple more if time allows. Thanks.
Tom Murphy, please.
Eric, you've had 7 different leading scorers during this 10-game win streak. So I'm wondering what you think of that stat, and then just what you've done better in these 10 that you weren't doing before that.
Yeah, I mean, I came up with the phrase today, sharing the ball, everybody feels stardom. Everybody can have their day, or their game, I should say, if you share the ball. And I think the reason we've had different leading scorers is because we have shared the ball. We've tried to, mix up, our offensive sets. We've tried to find a winning matchup each night. Like where do we think we can attack and find a winning matchup? That's been important. But I just think the guys are sharing. I think they believe in one another, and you know, I think that's why we have found some success both offensively and defensively.
Scotty.
Coach, Justin has been playing great lately, and he's always been steady, but it seems like at certain points in a game, he'll almost like flip a switch offensively and give you some pretty incredible scoring stretches. I guess just what have you made of those runs that he's made?
Yeah, I mean, his aggressive index has been awesome of late. I mean, he's been aggressive both sides of the ball. Is, you know, offensive rebounding, defensive rebounding. You know, he attacked the rim. We had him handling the ball in pick and roll the other night, where we ran 3 of those, and he had an and one, and you know, he's rolling hard to the rim. He's picking and popping sometimes, and shooting the 3 or turning it into an ISO. So he's just, I think his confidence, our play package, we've geared a little bit more towards him as the season has gone on, and you know, he's just doing a great job for us, to be honest.
I think you tweeted Tom the other night after the game that Justin was kind of urging you to put Bebe in the lineup. What does that tell you about Justin as a teammate?
I don't know if he wants to join our coaching staff or if what, but he, I mean, I like when players feel comfortable enough to, you know, come and, I mean, he told me to put Bebe in, then he came back and told me to put a Mecca in. And I asked him if he wanted to hold up a play card and call a play too. But I think it's great that he felt that way about his teammates. I feel a little bad because he was 2 rebounds shy of another double-double, and I took him out without, you know, with COVID, we don't get the hard copy of the stat sheet. It's on a computer. So I'll chalk that up to not having a stat sheet, knowing he needed 2 more boards.
Curtis.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned A&M played pretty well for having such a long break. Do you feel like it might take a while to hit your stride after being off that long? I guess I'm asking, do you expect them to maybe take it up a notch after getting a game under their belt?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime, whether it's a player injured, whether it's a team, I think that we've seen teams that have been on pause come out and have great games. We've seen them struggle, then we've seen them get it right back. I mean, Coach Williams is a great coach. I mean, I love watching his teams play, whether it was this year or in the past. He's a great coach. He gets his guys to play really, really hard. They understand their roles. I mean, we expect it to be, you know, like last year's games. I mean, they were hard-fought games, both of them. And, you know, I mean, they got some good pieces. Jackson's a good scorer. You know, J.J. Chandler can shoot the ball. And, you know, Gordon's played the point well for him. And Miller, we've talked about, you know, offensively. And Flaggs, you know, he was really good player last year. So and he's a good player this year. I mean, they got a really, really good team. So, you know, again, it's reestablishing focus now that we've had a day off, and you know, we'll hit our accountability board today and you know, kind of go through our stats of things that we did well and look at some mental errors maybe that we had last game at South Carolina, and you know, look at you know, what we did last year against A&M again on film.
Nikki.
Hey, Coach, were you surprised by how competitive they made that game last night after so many days off, and how much of that scouting report from the first time around is still relevant to use for this game?
Yeah, I think Nikki, that the scouting report, you know, the 2 that we've already done, I mean, we're making adjustments, you know, often on those 2 reports, and obviously off last night's game. They ran most of the same stuff that they had run both offensively and defensively. So I don't think there's a whole lot of change from that aspect. But we were not surprised at all that they played so well and that the game was, you know, it could have gone either way for much of the 40-minute game. Again, I mean, that's the staple of Coach Buzz Williams' teams, is playing hard and competing. So I wasn't surprised at all. You know, I knew sitting at home, you know, I felt like they, before the game that they could win the game, and certainly they played like it throughout the course of the game as well.
Bob, follow up.
Eric, I saw you. I think this was on Twitter, but you tweeted something out about some.
I got to stop tweeting if you guys are reading it that much. Doggone.
Well,
I'm just trying to have fun. And I mean, when my wife puts some of those shows on that I might not really like, that's when I start tweeting. You guys really paying that much attention to my stupid tweets?
why else are you tweeting? We're not supposed to pay attention to it.
For my own entertainment, I think.
Okay. Well, I think anyway, you tweeted something. You were showing your phone saying Jalen Williams. I don't know if you've been texting during the game or tweeting, but you said that's a great teammate. That's a great teammate. But I wasn't quite sure what you meant. Could you explain that?
Yeah, he was texting with several staff members, GAs, and obviously we didn't know what he was. I mean, we didn't know till we grab our phones, which for me sometimes doesn't occur until after our media session. But yeah, some of the guys, after I addressed the team and was headed back to the coaches' locker room, had grabbed their phones, and we all kind of looked at him, and Jalen was kind of texting his thoughts on things that were occurring during the game, which I thought was really, really cool.
I mean, how's he doing not being able to play right now and being away from you guys, I assume? How's he handling that as a young guy?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's doing fine. He's doing fine.
And as far as this A&M game, you've been close before and gotten a call. How confident are you that you'll play A&M Saturday? And do you have any backup plans in case the Aggies can't play?
Nah, we're looking forward to playing Saturday, and it's the last regular season weekend for the SEC, and so I mean they got the game in last night, and I don't see any reason why we wouldn't play on Saturday.
Let's get one more. I think you guys are 15-1 at home. Obviously, that's a great record, and we've talked a little bit about the atmosphere, but just how good do you feel about that record, and what do you think that says about the program right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think our home record this year is really good. Obviously, got to give Missouri a lot of credit. The night that we did lose, they came in, they played really well. They're well coached. They played hard. They competed. But I do think our crowd enthusiasm as we've won games. You've seen the maximum amount of people that we can get in there. The student section's been, I keep saying it because, we know because we travel around to other places. Like, I think that Bud Walton has the best pandemic crowd in the history of pandemics. And I've only been a part of this one, but our crowds they're good. Like, we feel it. We feed off their energy. So, the crowds have been great. I don't know if I answered all your question, Bob, or what I left out.
I remember the Auburn game in particular. You guys are coming off a rough week, and then you're down 19, and things aren't looking very good. And I remember looking around the crowd, and people weren't booing or they weren't getting up and leaving. They were cheering. They were trying to get you guys back into the game. That particular game, the Auburn game here, do you remember how the crowd impacted that, your all's comeback?
They were loud. They were energetic. We were kind of flat. We were discombobulated. We were fragile. I don't know, whatever, I'm sure the people on Twitter were not, you said there was no booing in the arena. I'm sure Twitter, if you could boo on Twitter, there's zero doubt when we were down 19 against Auburn, people were booing on Twitter. I promise you that. But in Bud Walton, we heard nothing but positives.
Yeah. I just got one more. I saw where Ben Howland said after last night's game that A&M had not played as that zone. They were very caught off guard by that. I guess that's why it took Mississippi State a while to get into the game. But did that zone surprise you? And I guess now you got to be ready for whatever they play.
Yeah, no, they changed up their zone. They mix up the looks of the zone. They even had number 15 Aku at the top of their zone. which if they're going to put a center up there, we're going to have to attack it. With the right mentality. They'll swipe at the ball and get steals when it goes to the middle of the zone. Our whole staff watched the game individually, and we were all texting back and forth different ideas. I still think for us, it comes down to our defense, Bob, and us being able to ambush the ball and make the offense, whoever we're playing, like I said the other day, play a little claustrophobic with us being active and moving all over the place. And our defense has been the one thing. I know we're scoring and all that, but it still starts with us from a defensive standpoint, setting the tempo of the game early on with how we're going to defend and how much energy we're going to put forth. But we expect them to play the zone. We expected it in the 2 games where when we prepped before, we did a ton of zone work. Sometimes it looks like a matchup. Sometimes it looks like a hybrid. And we'll just have to go with just like we did at South Carolina, we'll have to add some offensive packages of our hybrid half zone, half man, and not play on our heels and try to be aggressive offensively.
Yes, Tom's got another on there, so I'll give it back to Mike. Thanks, Eric.
Thanks, Bob.
Nate?
Yeah, Eric, any concerns after shooting the 3 so well that you end up getting that they get 3-ball happy again, like you said they did earlier in the year?
The great thing, Nate, if you get 2 3-ball happy, is there's some empty chairs to come and get a rest and kind of check out the game from the sideline view. We still want to be who we are, which is attacking the rim, which is getting free throws attempted, which is scoring paint points. If we're knocking down the 3-ball, certainly want us to take them. I think the big thing is, not one pass and ill-advised 3. You can do that, once in a while. I think our pace of play, it's well documented that we play fast anyhow. We just want to play fast with great shot selection as well.
Thank you.
Final question, Tom Murphy.
Eric, speaking of pace of play, is Texas A&M's, their scoring numbers are such that, are they that methodical? Or why is it that their scoring is so low?
Yeah, I mean, they control tempo. They do really turn you over. They're 42nd, in the nation in forcing turnovers, and their defense is 51st in scoring defense. They're holding teams to under 65, and so they make you run a little bit of clock on offense, and then when they're on offense, they'll run opportunistically. Their games are a lot of times grinded out games, and they'll sub a lot. To try to slow the game down to some degree when a sub goes to check in a little bit late, maybe, and then the ref lets them in. So there's little, things that we've picked up on, when the ball goes through the net, we've got to get the ball, out quicker before they can tap it to the referee after they score. So there's little things that we've, dissected and tried to, study them as much as we possibly can.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time. And before everybody jumps off, real quick, I've had a couple